house space or
Okay. Just trying to get all the work.
Yeah, there's one here. They show you yes, yes.
Yeah, I got you, but this my system makes much more work. We're gonna get it wrong.
So is there something specific you wanted on there?
I'm very happy to be here along with my colleagues. We have 5 original month appointed from the New York chapter here that are here, and they will be looking to answer any questions or things that you may have at the end of the DVD presentation that we're going to have. First of all, I'd like to, I wanted to get your attention because hearings, okay? Mr. Long, Vincent Long, would you please stand? Curtis Moore. In fact, all of you month appointed, could you please stand? And turn around. These gentlemen here that you're looking at are the original month appointed Marines. We call them Marines because these are the first Black Marines that were allowed in the Marine Corps going back to 1946. They're going to be available a little bit later after we see the DVD that I have here. And but I just want everyone to see them now because I know some of you may leave before the DVD presentation is over with. Thank you. Half of the audience here that I see is Marines. So it's a good thing that what I brought is short, because I'm going to take it for granted that you Marines already know exactly what it is that I have to say about Marshall One. But for you others, I'm going to give a quick overview, and after that, we're going to have Lou Gossett Jr. also narrate this DVD that I brought here. Okay. From 1942 to 1949, 20,000 African-American men enlisted in the Marine Corps at a time when our nation was at war and the country and military services were resistant to integration. After completing arduous and segregated basic training at Montford Point Camp, North Carolina, these Marines served with honor during a critical period in our nation's history. Montford Point Marines served in 3 of the bloodiest struggles in the Pacific: Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. Some died in these epic battles. Many others continued their service in Korea and Vietnam. Many Montford Point veterans, men like Gilbert Ashmore Johnson, Edgar Huff, and Frederick C. Branch, who happened to be the first Black Marine officer in the Marine Corps. Okay. Collectively, Montford Point Marines paved the way for the many thousands of Marines of African American heritage, men and women alike who serve our nation with honor, courage, and commitment. One of the things that I want to mention before I get off here is that in the video, this is not mentioned, I don't believe. On June 27th, Congress awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to these gentlemen here as well as across the country. They received the Congressional Gold Medal. If you saw them at the ceremony that we conducted on February 7th for another Marine that came out of the woodwork, so to speak, he said, I thought it was gold. So, well, we do have a gold Congressional Gold Medal, but it's in the Smithsonian. So what you see here, they have a replica. They have a bronze replica of the real thing, okay? As you know, our government is not going to give a large gold piece to each individual with gold running at, what is it, $19 an ounce or something today. They received this medal here. This is the nation's highest civilian honor as the utmost expression of national appreciation for distinguished achievements and contributions to the first African-American Marines, also known as the Montford Point Marines. Less than a year after that, on March 2nd, 2013, the U.S. Navy commissioned the Montford Point U.S. Naval Montford Point
Stay offshore and can resupply them.
And that's what that is. Up here, when you get a chance, I have a picture of the ship here.
War for the first African-American Marines in service of their country since the American Revolution. They trained on these grounds and in these buildings here at Montfort Point, a segregated training base constructed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. They were ordinary men who faced extraordinary challenges with determination and courage. They struggled to gain acceptance as equals, and the Marine Corps noted both for its battlefield exploits and its refusal to recruit African Americans. Out of that struggle emerged a unique group of men who hold a special place in the history of the Marine Corps and of the nation. I'm Louis Gossett Jr., and I am privileged to bring you this story.
We're fighting a war against the bigotry at home. We're fighting a war against the bigotry overseas.
The first thing happened to me, the natives walked up against and let me see the tail. The white Marines told me all black people had tails.
We began to pull out the rifles, and we take charge and secure the area. Where a group of white Marines, they was very happy, and as they returned back, they stated, they asked them what happened. They said the Black Angels saved us. It was a tradition which existed since the American Revolution. Today, the Marine Corps is one of the most completely integrated institutions in the United States.
There were black Marines in the Revolutionary War. There were 3 black Marines. They did duty on ship. After the war of 1775, blacks were no longer allowed in the Marine Corps.
After the Revolutionary War, the United States forbade the enlistment of blacks in the nation's military. Although a few black militiamen and sailors fought in the War of 1812. With the outbreak of the Civil War, military necessity changed that policy. 1862 saw the creation of the United States Colored Troops, and during the war, some 186,000 African Americans served in segregated army units. Another 15,000 served in the Navy. After the Civil War, the United States Colored Troops fought in the Indian Wars on the western frontier, where black cavalry units gained fame as the Buffalo Soldiers. Black troops also fought in the Spanish-American War in 1898 in Cuba, some with Theodore Roosevelt's Rough Riders, and in the Philippine Insurrection of 1899 to 1901.
Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps because I felt it was the proper thing to do. Patriotic of my country. I felt that this is history in the making, and I felt that I wanted to be a part of it.
Well, because the reputation of the Marines was known to be rough and ready, and my mother asked me why. I said, well, it's supposed to be first in battle, first back home, so I don't want to stay out too long.
I joined the Marine Corps for 2 reasons. The dress blue uniform and the fact that they would see action.
And I saw these uniforms, and I felt that the soldiers do come with me.
Once enlisted, new Marines journeyed by train to small eastern North Carolina towns. Buses transported them to the final few miles to Jacksonville and Montfort Point. For those who lived in the South, it was just another trip through a segregated society, they understood. Although some hoped that becoming a Marine might bring a new measure of respect from the whites.
See, my parents were from Carolina, and I had traveled the southern route a number of times by train or by auto. So actually, it was nothing strange, you know. I knew how the situation, I knew what to expect and whatnot, and we knew what the situation was, so we governed ourselves accordingly.
For those raised in the North, though they had heard about segregation,
The train ride south delivered an abrupt, harsh, and unforgettable introduction to the reality of the Jim Crow South.
I had to walk the train out in the yard someplace, about a mile away from the station, and walk, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, walk along the tracks to the station. An African-American man swept over, he was sweeping, and he swept over where I was, he looked at me and he says, you have to move to the other side. So I went out the door, and as I went out the door, someone said, look back. I looked back, I looked over the station, the entrance to the station, and I saw a sign. It had to be about 3 feet in width and maybe 5 feet in length, and it said, for white only. Now, I'd heard about things like that. I don't know where, I can't, pinpoint the exact person that told me that they had signs like that. But this was the South, but I never experienced it. And that was the first time that the realization hit me that this was a different world, that these were different people. I'd never seen anything like them.
The train pulled into Rocket now.
What you just saw here with Lou Gossip Jr. Orating here. So I hope you all enjoyed it. And also to anyone who's interested, I also have a few of these here that can be sold to you for a nominal price of $20. Okay. Also to a number of the gentlemen that were interviewed here doing this here are no longer here. Some of them were in the New York chapter that you've seen up here, and others were in other chapters. And but we have to recognize, we're talking about World War II veterans, and all of these guys are well into the 80s, and they're not into the mid-90s at this point in time. At this point in time, I would like the original Martha Pointers to come up. We're going to be able to sit up here. If there's any questions in which anyone has, they will be willing to answer.
How did you feel fighting in a segregated army? Because to build up your spirit to go to war, I would imagine takes a great amount of courage. But to fight in a war where your homeland is racist, it's difficult for my generation to understand your patience and courage. I'll leave it there. Take a photo.
Can you hear me? Yeah. John, hands on, you good? John. To answer this question, I was born and raised in New York, and I had never seen segregation before until I joined the Marine Corps. I thought that was kind of different, that here I am going into the military to fight for the freedom of our country, and the first thing I face is discrimination in the way I was treated when I went into the Marine Corps. That was sort of quite different for me. But
so how do you get over that?
I like to say, this phrase has been used over and over again in recent days, I love America. Yes, ma'am.
What was your family's reaction when they heard that you were going to be a Marine?
Well, yours truly, at the time I was dressed, they were going to send everybody to the Navy. Well, I couldn't swim then, I still can't swim. But this fellow sitting over there, the recruiting officer of Marines, which they never gave us an opportunity to wear that through. But I asked him, well, why can't I go into the Marine Corps? They never gave us, during my time, the opportunity to wear that blue uniform. For being away from home, the fact family didn't know what we were going through. We had nobody down there to complain to, because they were all called hillbillies from the deep south, and what they hated, all of a sudden, they had us, the blacks, and they had the draftees into this Marine Corps, which was a disgrace to them, because all of them were volunteers. And if we gave them if we had a complaint, and he gave them a hard time, it would just be that much harder for us. So you had to go along with it. This is how it was. And anything that you complained about, they knew how to make it worse for you.
Sure.
Let me get through this and get out of here.
That's when I turned 18. And then they let you stay 18 long before you got that piece of paper. I think it was about 3 months. And when I got to Detroit, where we were being selected for where you wanted to go, I didn't know anything about any of them. So he asked me, which you want? We have openings in the Navy, Army, and the Marines. And at that time, you could pick where you wanted to go. I said, well, I have a brother in the Army and a brother in the Navy. I'm going to the Marines. I didn't know what I was asking for until I got to Marker Point. Then I wish I was back in Detroit.
From the Bronx, this is Lenny B for the LMS Extra Show.